In this video, I will be showing you how to make a safari shirt step by step. A safari shirt is traditionally made in cotton, linen, or a blend of the two. It has 2 to 4 utilitarian pockets with either a 1 or 2 piece collar. A safari shirt usually comes in neutral colors like olive, sand, brown, green, khaki, and many more. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time of watching my video, this is Regi School of Fashion. In this video, I will be taking you through a detailed tutorial of how to draft a safari shirt pattern, the cutting, and how to put the pieces together, which is the sewing. Remember to like, share, comment, and also subscribe, because that is the only way you can be a bona fide member of my community. And also remember that watching ads on my videos is one of the ways you can encourage me to do more on this channel. So please don't skip ads. Thank you, and I will see you in class. In drafting a safari shirt pattern, I have my pattern paper laid on my drafting table, as you can see, and I have my starting point line drawn out, which is from the edges of my pattern paper to this point. I used half of an inch, then I drew a straight line, then I labeled this as my starting point. Okay, then from the starting point line, I measured the chest level. The chest level is half of the armhole circumference measurement I'm working with. So for this, I use 9.25. So which means my armhole circumference, the armhole circumference I'm working with is 18.5. 18.5 divided by 2 gives me 9.25. Then I measured out the waist level as 18 inches, which I also made a straight line. Then downwards is the length of my safari shirt. So the length of my safari shirt is 28 inches, and I added extra 1 inch as my hem allowance. So for this reason, I labeled this line as the starting point, the chest level, the waist level, and the safari shirt length. Then on this side of my pattern paper, I measured 4 inches inward, which I labeled as my placket allowance. Because this is a safari shirt, it has to be with a placket, so I need extra inches in constructing the placket. So I measured 4 inches based on the design of my placket. So this has to do with the design of the placket you are making. You can use between 2.5 to 4 inches. So but for the design I'm working with, I'm using 4 inches for the placket allowance. So this line is my center front line. From these edges to this line is my placket allowance, while this line is my center front. So all the measurements I will be taking horizontally will start from the center front line. And also I drew out my armhole line. In getting my armhole line, I inserted half of the back measurement I'm working with. Okay, so which is 9 inches. That is, the back measurement I'm working with is 18 inches. Divided by 2 gives me 9 inches. And I have the 9 inches point marked. Then on the chest level, I inserted the same 9 inches, which is half of the back measurements. Then I connected the 2 points together to make a straight line. In case you don't know how to take all these measurements, I have a well-detailed tutorial on how to take a male shirt measurement. Kindly check the description area below for the link to the tutorial. Then when I drew this out on this line, which is the armhole line, I measured 1.75 inches downward. This is 1.5 and this is 1.75. In case you don't know how to locate all these values on your measuring tape, I also have a well-detailed tutorial on how to read a measuring tape for pattern drafting. when you are making use of a pattern, you need to use the exact measurement. You have to learn how to locate the exact measurement on your measuring tape. So that was why I made that well detailed tutorial. Kindly check the description area below for the link to the video. So from the 1.75 I have here, that is 1 inch and 3/4. Then I inserted my neck width. So the neck width measurement I'm using for this tutorial is 2.75. From the center front point to this point is 2.75. If you are new to this, you have not been drafting a shirt pattern before now, I also have a well detailed tutorial on how to draft a male shirt pattern, a button down shirt pattern. Okay, so kindly check the description area below as well for the link to the videos. So I think the videos is in about 3 to 4 parts, well detailed and well explained. So from here to here I have 2.75, which is the neck width. So these are the lines I've already drawn behind the camera on my pattern paper. So after getting all this, the next step is to construct the neckline. In constructing the neckline, I will be needing the neck width and the neck depth measurement, which I already inserted here. My neck width is 2.75, and for the neck depth I will be using 3 inches. So which is here. The measurement has to be taken from the starting point line, and I will make a straight line. Okay, so I'm going to achieve something like a square. In doing this, I will insert my neck width on this line as well, which is 2.75. Then from this point I will measure 1 inch upward. Here I will measure half of an inch. From here as well I will measure half of an inch. Okay, for this angle I will need to get my midpoint. So I'm placing the angular shape I have on my pattern master on the square I drew out. Okay, then I will mark out the center. So this is just to be very sure my measurement falls at the center, and as you can see it's aligned with the 1 inch I marked out earlier. So then I will now place my 1 inch. So I'm just doing this for confirmation. Okay, so the next step is to construct my neckline. In constructing my neckline, I will be connecting the 3 points together. Okay, so now I have my front neckline. Now the next step is to measure out the measurement I have on the front neckline. Then I will add it up to the back neckline, then compare it with the neck circumference measurement I'm working with. So after taking yours, if you have any issue like the neckline you have, the measurement you have on your pattern is either more or lesser than the one you are working with, there is no issue on that. There's always a solution, what you can do, how you can adjust your neckline. All these are well explained in my video on how to draft a male button down shirt pattern. I explained what you can do if you have lesser or you have more. So kindly check out the video in order to know what next to do. So I will be taking this measurement, and this point is very, very important because this is where you are attaching the collar. You are attaching the collar around the neckline. So the neckline measurement you'll be having on your fabrics must be the same as the neck circumference measurement of the wearer, so that the shirt will not be too tight or too loose on the neckline area. So this is not a step you can skip. You must go through the process, make sure everything is properly aligned. Then the measurement you have on the neckline is what you will be using in cutting out the collar. So this is how you will carefully measure out your neckline. So for me, I have 4.875. So I will note this down. After drafting the back pattern, I will add the back neckline and the front neckline together. Then I will compare it with the neck circumference measurement I'm working with. If they both align properly, I will go ahead with my drafting. But if I will need to adjust, either add or subtract from it, then I will go ahead and do that. If you don't know how to do it, kindly check out the video I mentioned earlier, how to draft a male shirt button down pattern. You will find the solution there. So guys, after constructing the neckline, the next step is to construct the armhole. In constructing the armhole, I will be getting the midpoint of my armhole line. Starting from the 1.75, I measure downward to the chest level. So I will extend this point inward towards the center front. And I will insert 0.75. Then on the chest level, I will be inserting quarter of the chest circumference measurement I measured. The chest circumference measurement I'm working with is 38 inches. Divided by 4 gives me 9.5 inches. So on the chest level, I will be inserting 9.5 inches. Which is here. So I will be adding extra inches in order to create room on the armpit. The little space I have here is not enough to construct the armhole, which is the space in between this point, which is half of the back, and quarter of the chest. Okay, so for this reason, I will be making this 2 inches. 2 inches is standard. It works for medium figure, medium large, and large figure. But if you are drafting your pattern for extra large or XX large, you can make this 2.5 inches. From the armhole line point, which is half of the back, I will measure 2 inches forward. Then I will be constructing my armhole by connecting these 3 points together. This point, point 1, point 2, and point 3. Okay, so now I have the armhole constructed. So after constructing the armhole, the next step is to plot a dart on my safari shirt pattern. Now, every safari designs usually comes with darts. So from the center front, I will measure 4.25. So the 4.25 measurement I used here is the center of the chest of the wearer. So you can either take this measurement or use a standard measurement of 4 inches. But because I took this measurement on the wearer, I have 8.5 inches, and half of that is 4.25. So I will be plotting the dart on 4.25 points. Okay, then I will measure my dart intake. So the dart intake is going to be half of an inch. So that's half of an inch, and I will get the midpoint, which is here. So which means from the center front to the middle of my dart is 4.5 inches. From the center front to the middle of my dart is 4.5 inches. From the center front to the first dart leg is 4.25. To the second dart leg is 4.75. So I will come to the chest level and I will insert 4.25. Then I will connect the 4.25 point to the middle of my dart. Okay, so from the chest level, I will measure 3 inches downward. I will mark the point. Then I will connect the 3 inches point to the both sides of my dart. The 3 inches I measure downward is a constant value. This is to move the dart away from the chest point. And because this is a safari shirt, I will be extending my dart downward to the length of my safari, to the hemline. So whatever I have from the center front to the middle of the dart is what I will be inserting on the hemline. So that is 4.5 inches. Then I will connect this straight to the middle of the dart. There's a slight difference between your dart intake on safari shirts and the button down shirts. If you are making a button down shirt, you don't need to extend your dart downward to the hemline. So from the center line, I will measure 1/4 inch on both sides. Then I will connect this with a straight ruler to the dart point I have on the waistline.